Welcome to Money Made Easy, where we take the confusion out of your finances and break things down simply, honestly, and realistically. There is no confusing jargon here, just practical talk about how money actually works so you can make better decisions for your everyday life. Think back to about 5 years ago and picture yourself walking into your local grocery store. You have a crisp $100 bill in your pocket, and you are ready to do your shopping for the week. Back then, that $100 went a long way. You could fill up your cart with fresh meat, vegetables, a couple of boxes of cereal, milk, eggs, bread, and maybe even some household items like paper towels and dish soap. You would get to the checkout line, pay your $100, and walk out to your car pushing a cart so full that you had to strategically pack it all into your trunk. It felt like a fair trade. Your hard work earned that money, and that money bought you a week of meals. Now, let us fast forward to today. You walk into that exact same grocery store. You have the exact same $100 bill in your pocket. You go to the same aisles to buy the exact same items you bought 5 years ago. You grab some chicken, a carton of eggs, a loaf of bread, some apples, and a bottle of laundry detergent. But before you even make it to the snack aisle, you do the math in your head. You realize you are already hitting that $100 limit. You get to the register, hand over your bill, and instead of pushing a full cart out to your car, you are carrying just 3 plastic bags. You did not buy anything fancy. You did not buy luxury steaks or expensive organic imported fruit. You just bought the basics. This situation leaves so many people feeling frustrated and confused. You look at your bags and wonder where your money went. You might feel like you are doing something wrong with your budget, or that you are secretly overspending without realizing it. But you are not doing anything wrong. You are experiencing something called inflation. Inflation is a word that gets thrown around on the news a lot, usually by people in expensive suits pointing at complicated charts. But you do not need a degree in economics to understand it. In the simplest terms possible, inflation means that over time the prices of things go up. And because the prices of things go up, the money you have buys less than it used to. It is the invisible force that slowly drains the power out of your dollars. Think of your money as having physical strength. 5 years ago, your $100 bill was strong. It could lift a whole cart full of groceries. Today, that same bill has gotten weaker. It can only lift 3 bags. The number printed on the paper is exactly the same, but the muscle behind it is gone. Why does this happen? Well, there are many reasons, but a simple way to look at it is that the cost of doing business goes up. The farmer has to pay more for the feed for the chickens. The trucking company has to pay more for gas to deliver the eggs. The grocery store has to pay more for electricity to keep the lights on. When all those costs go up for the businesses, they do not just accept making less money. They pass those extra costs right down to the person standing at the checkout counter. They pass them down to you. So the price of your eggs goes up to cover the farmer, the truck driver, and the grocery store. This brings us to a very serious problem that everyday people face when it comes to saving money. Because most of us are never taught how money actually works. We rely on instincts, and our basic human instinct tells us that to keep something safe, we should hide it. Many people think the best way to protect their life savings is to keep it in physical cash. They might literally hide it under a mattress, bury it in a jar in the backyard, or put it in a heavy metal safe in the basement. Other people might put their money in a basic checking account at a big traditional bank. These accounts usually pay zero interest, meaning the bank gives you absolutely nothing for keeping your money with them. But to the average person, it feels incredibly secure. It feels safe because the number never goes down. If you put $10,000 under your mattress today, you can go to sleep knowing nobody is taking it. You can check under the mattress in 5 years and count the bills, and you will still have exactly $10,000. Because the number stayed the same, you feel like you won. You avoided stock market crashes. You avoided risky investments. You kept your money safe from the world. But this is the biggest and most dangerous illusion in personal finance. While your money was sitting perfectly still in the dark under your mattress, the rest of the world was moving forward. The price of groceries went up. The price of cars went up. The cost of rent and houses and medical care and shoes all went up. So yes, you still have 10,000 pieces of paper. But those pieces of paper cannot buy the same amount of life that they could 5 years ago. If you try to buy a car with that mattress money today, you will find out that the car costs significantly more than it did when you first hid the money. Inflation is like a silent thief. If a thief breaks into your house and steals $100 from your wallet, you notice it immediately. You are angry, you feel violated, and you know you have less money. But inflation does not break your windows or steal your physical bills. Instead, it sneaks in and steals the purchasing power of your bills. It leaves the paper behind, but takes away what the paper can do. You never see it happen, which is why so many people do not realize they are getting poorer while trying to save. Let us put some simple numbers to this to make it crystal clear. Historically, inflation averages around 3% a year. Some years it is much higher, and some years it is lower, but 3% is a fair historical average to think about. If you have $100 under your mattress and inflation is 3% this year, next year your money will only buy what $97 can buy today. You lost $3 of buying power just by letting the money sit there and do nothing. Now stretch that out over 20 years. A lot of people save for 20 or 30 years for retirement. If you hide money under a mattress for 20 years, inflation will eat away nearly half of its value. Half of your hard work, completely wiped out by the rising cost of everyday goods. This is why people who save all their money in cash often feel like they can never get ahead. They work overtime, they skip vacations, they pinch pennies, and they pile up cash in a basic bank account. But no matter how hard they work, the cost of a house or a decent retirement keeps moving further away from them. They are essentially trying to run up an escalator that is moving downwards. If you just stand still on a down escalator, you go backward. With money, if you just leave it in cash, you are standing still while the economy moves past you. You are guaranteed to lose purchasing power. Inflation also affects your job and your salary in a way most people do not think about. Let us say you work really hard this year. Your boss calls you into the office and says you are doing a great job, and they are giving you a 2% pay raise. Normally, you would celebrate. You are making more money than last year. The number on your paycheck went up. You might go out to dinner to celebrate or buy yourself something nice because you feel richer. But what if inflation that year is 4%? The cost of your groceries, gas, and rent just went up by 4%, but your paycheck only went up by 2%. Even though your boss gave you a raise, you can actually buy fewer things this year than you could last year. In reality, if your raise does not at least match the rate of inflation, you did not get a raise at all. You took a pay cut. Your lifestyle will have to shrink just to survive, even though you are technically making more dollars. This is why it is so important to understand the value of money, not just the amount of money. So, what is the smarter approach? If keeping money under the mattress is a guaranteed way to lose, and basic bank accounts offer zero protection, how does a normal person survive inflation without becoming a risky Wall Street day trader? The answer is that your money needs to get a job. When you go to sleep at night, your money cannot go to sleep with you. It needs to stay awake and work just as hard as you did to earn it. It needs to grow at a pace that at least matches inflation. The absolute easiest first step for any beginner is to stop using traditional checking accounts for your savings. Instead, look into a high-yield savings account. These are regular savings accounts usually offered by online banks that actually pay you a decent interest rate. If a high-yield savings account pays you 4 or 5% interest and inflation is 3%, your money is finally moving forward. It is completely safe, it is easy to access, but it is actually fighting back against the rising cost of groceries. It is the easiest defense shield you can build. But saving alone is rarely enough for long-term wealth. To really beat inflation over decades, you have to transition from just saving dollars to owning things. This is what investing really is at its core. It is not about gambling on charts. It is about owning pieces of the real world. When inflation happens, the price of everything goes up. This includes the price of companies, real estate, and essential materials. If you own a tiny piece of those companies through simple investments like index funds, your wealth goes up as those prices go up. You rise with the tide instead of drowning in it. Think about the grocery store example again. The cost of food went up, which was bad for the person buying the food. But the grocery store chain is probably bringing in more total dollars because of those higher prices. If you are a partial owner of the companies that make and sell the food, inflation starts to work for you instead of against you. The wealthy understand this deeply. Rich people do not keep their millions of dollars sitting in cash under a giant mattress. If they did, they would lose millions in purchasing power every year. Instead, they trade their cash for assets. They buy businesses, land, and investments that tend to increase in value when the cost of living goes up. You do not need to be rich to start doing this. You just need a change in mindset. The goal is no longer just to collect pieces of paper with presidents on them. The goal is to collect pieces of the economy that hold their value over time. Another practical way normal people can fight inflation is by investing in their own skills. The best defense against rising prices is the ability to easily demand a higher income. If everything costs 20% more over a few years, but you learned a new skill and doubled your salary, inflation becomes a minor annoyance instead of a financial disaster. This means reading books, taking courses, learning how to negotiate, or acquiring certifications that make you more valuable in the job market. Your personal ability to earn money is an asset that inflation cannot easily steal from you as long as you keep improving it. So, the next time you go to the store and get frustrated that your money is not buying as much as it used to, do not just get mad at the cashier or the store manager. Recognize what is actually happening. The game of money is constantly shifting, and the value of currency is always melting away. You cannot stop inflation. Nobody can. It is a massive global force that will continue long after we are gone. But you do not have to be a victim of it either. You just have to stop playing the game by the old broken rules. Stop hiding your long-term savings in places where it earns nothing. Start exploring high-yield accounts for your emergency funds. Begin educating yourself on simple, boring, beginner-friendly investing so that your money can grow alongside the rising prices of the world. If you can change how you view that $100 bill, moving from seeing it as a permanent store of value to seeing it as a tool that needs to be put to work, you will completely change your financial future. Make sure to subscribe, comment, and see you in the next video.